Hi, welcome back. Now let's go ahead and make a fourth file in the same style that we've done. I think we're going to rename these files, but we'll do that right after this. This will be the last file in our Python Basics series. There's one more file to create. There's one more tutorial, but that will not be. We'll be making an interface. So we'll be putting kind of things together that we've learned. But for now, we're going through the last thing, and this is one of the most important things: loops. So let me start, as I always do, just adding a little header, Python Basics, like that. You can write whatever you want. Just remember, every file you make always must have a header of some kind. Let's just get to it. Loops. And the first loop we're going to look at is the while loop. Not going to capitalize that so that it looks like what we do in Python. Loops and while. So loops are about doing things repetitively, which sounds weird, but is really what programming is all about. And a while loop is the easiest of those loops to kind of understand. So a while loop lies at the heart of every video game, because it's the thing that keeps the game going. I'm going to show you an example of that, but first I'm going to show you a very simple example of a while loop. Let's imagine we have a counter, and that counter was 0. It's an int counter, very, very common thing. You'll see it many, many times. So here we go, while, and it gets a special color. So while count is smaller or equal to 10, and that's the entire sentence. So we know that this here is an expression that produces a boolean. So while count is smaller or equal to 10 is either true or false. So what while is looking for is a true statement. So as long as there's a true statement there, while is going to continue. So what does continue mean? We'll get there, but first we have to make sure that we don't crash the computer or crash our process by running infinitely. While will keep on running unless we find a way to end it. So I'm going to do this, plus equal 1. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is this. We've done this once before in this tutorial, so I hope you understand it. Count equals the previous count plus 1, right? So count is now 0, we add 1, it becomes 1, and then count becomes 1, and then we add 1, it becomes 2. That's how the loop goes. So what we can do to make that more efficiently is just say, okay, count plus equal 1. We're adding 1 to count and storing that into a new variable. It's a very common operation, and so Python, as many other programming languages, you might have seen this before. It's the same thing in other programming languages. In Python, this is how it works: plus equal. There's also a minus equal, and a multiplied equal, and a divided by equal, which works the same way. So you take the number, you plus 1, you take the sum of that and you add it back into the variable where the number came from. As I said, simple operation, and so it has a simple, clear syntax. So what happens now, if we read it down, right, we start up here, count is 1. Then we enter the scope of the while loop. That's why we have a colon at the end of the line. That's why the next line starts 1 tab in. So while count minus or equal to 10, we're going in. So this works exactly like an if statement initially, right? We wouldn't be here if count was bigger than 10. We are here because count is 0, and that makes it smaller or equal to 10. It's not equal, but it is smaller to 10. Now we're adding plus 1 to 10. So count plus equal 1 makes count 1. And then it starts anew. That's what the while loop does. It starts anew. It gets to the end of its scope, which ends right here, right? And then it starts anew. So we'll add one more line inside that scope, and we'll just print count out. So now it gets to count plus equal 1, then it prints count, and then it ends the loop, and since it's a while loop, it goes back up and it checks. Count still smaller than 10. Here we go again. Count now count is 2, still smaller than 10. It goes again 3, and so on and so on. So it's going to go around and around and around, and while count remains smaller than 10, it's going to keep going until it no longer is. Now we have a print statement, so we can look at it. Let's run it. So what happens is exactly what you'd expect. Count is 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4, then it's 5, then it's 6, then it's 7, then it's 8, then it's 9, then it's 10, then it's 11, and then it ends, right? Because I said plus equal. So while count is 10, it is still equal, right? Count is 10, it makes it still equal to 10, so it runs one more time. We add one more to count, making it 11. We print that number, the 11, and then it goes around again, and then it checks, now it's not smaller than or equal to 11. This part is ignored. The program continues down here. And that is how a while loop works. That's what it does. That's what it's for. It is incredibly useful. It has many, many uses. And we'll get to looking at that here, and also when we make our interface in the next file. I'll show you one more example that's a bit more game relevant. Let's say we have a variable called game over, right? And that variable is false because the game is not over, it's still continuing. If I wanted to put this in a while loop, and I do, I would say while not game over, right? That makes perfect sense in English. While the game is not over, while not game over. So not inverts. Previously, while is looking for a true statement. But when you put a not, then while is now looking for a false statement. So since game over is false, right, it will continue. Now, if I run this now, it will run forever. It will never end, and it will crash your process. Obviously, you just terminate it. But this is what happens when games crash. The while loop just keeps going, and nothing happens. So having began at the very initial point. This is the thing that runs a game. It is going until somebody says game over. Now we'll get to how to tell the computer to end the while loop with something called input. We'll get to it soon, but for right now we'll just pretend that it's done. So here I put playing the game. So if I do this and I run this, it's just going to say that forever, and it's never going to end, right? And this is how games get stuck, because that happens. And so I'm going to use Control C or Escape, and that ends the tier. I wonder if it's not ended. Yes, I have something taking 127 CPU. Oh no, that's me recording you. There it is, 93 CPU, desktop tutorials, Python based up 4. So it's still going, which is a problem. So luckily, if you have Windows, you can use Control Alt Delete and then pick the process manager, I believe it's called. For Linux, I would use this thing called HTOP and press F10. And F10, sorry, and then press, let's see here, and then I would press F9, and I get to sigterm, and I want the 9 there, which is sig kill, and that kills the process, and enter, and the process is gone. So thankfully Linux is very good and very quick at eliminating processes like this. So I can go back here, and now I know that the process is not running in the background. This is one of the things. This is one of the issues with running using Sublime. When I run it like this, that I can ESC the command line away. I can even run another command line. I can run it again, and it will just be in the background. This is one of the reasons why it's a good idea to run from command line or from terminal instead of running directly from here when you're running a big program. And we're going to get to that soon when we start running our interface, which we will have to run from the command line, not from inside of Sublime. So I'm just gonna set game over equal to true. It's over, man. Game over. So when I run this, we have a neat finish. First it does the top loop there, 1, 2, and then it goes away. So what I can do here to avoid seeing that again, just add 20 to count, and it will no longer be running. because 20 is more and not equal to 10. Playing the game, game over. Finished very, very quickly. It didn't go many loops, it just went one loop. Okay, that is that. That is while loops. Let's look at the other one, for loops. Now, as useful as while is, and it is incredibly useful, in Python, for loops is the mother load. For loop is something you're going to be using all the time. In fact, whenever I start a task, whenever I'm programming some not a program, but a part of a program, like one issue, one problem, I have two thoughts. Where is the if statement? Where's the if statement? And where is the for loop? Those are the two things that I look for when I try to analyze a problem, when I think about how I'm going to program that problem. Where's the if statement? Where's the for loop? And we're going to look at the for loop now, and we'll also add an if statement as we go. Now, when it comes to working with loops, there's a relationship between them and sequences, right? So we just talked about sequences or containers, like lists. So if I make a list here and I call it the list, I'm going to remove I'm going to say game over true, so I can run this without getting spam. So the list, and I'm just going to make I'm not going to make a list, not yet. I'm going to make a list containing every number up to, that was terrible, like that, right? So it's a basic list, it's a sequence of numbers we are very, very used to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have a list of numbers. Now, how do I do something with every one of these numbers? Well, I could do this, right? And then go there, and if I wanted to add 1, I do the plus equal 1 that we learned before, and now I'm adding to the first position, and then we go, cool, I'll go next one, and that is the first one, then I'll plus equal 1, and I'll add it to that, and I'll just keep typing, and I'll add, and that will be 1, and this will be 2, and this will be 3. This is stupid. This is hands down stupid, and of course, that's not how I want to do it. This is what a for loop is for. A for loop has many uses. This is the primary use of the for loop, to enact something into a list or create a list in some way. So we'll do both of those things. For number in the list, colon. And now we're inside the for loops scope, just like we were inside the while loop scope before. So for number in the list, for each number, that's what, if you come from C# or other programming languages, for loops in Python are what other languages would call for each. And regular for loops Python doesn't need. For each number in the list. So I've taken a variable and I've named it number. I could have called it anything I wanted to. I want to call it number because that's what it is. I know that what's inside this list, they're numbers. So that means that this thing is going to be one of these. And in the beginning, it's going to be 1. The first iteration of the loop is going to be 1. The second one, number, is going to be 2. And then it's going to be 3. And then it's going to be 4. And so on. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at it. Print number. So we run that, and no surprise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Though that is the content of number. Now, if this seems confusing, understand why we're doing it. We're doing it because we need to do something with each of those numbers, assuming that's what we need to do. So if I want to do this, and then I go, okay, times equal 10. So just adding 10 to every number, and then let's print those numbers out. You should absolutely purchase Sublime Text. And then we print those numbers out, and we get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 90. Exactly, right? So that allows me to, so this variable that I set myself is the named variable of whatever the list contains. List, tuple, dictionary, doesn't matter. Right? Whatever it contains that I'm iterating through in this way becomes available to me in this scope so that I can work on it. That's the point. That's what we're trying to do. It doesn't. I know the for loop can seem weird, but understand that there's a need to do this. There's a need to go through the elements of a list. You know, if this was a video game, let's see here. Let's just print. Let's do. Actually, I like what we were doing before. Let's just do that. So we'll keep that there. We'll make another for loop, and this time we'll just call it. Well, we'll make a new list. Call it new list equals like that. So now the list is empty, right? So then I go for num, which is short for number, in new list colon. Oh no, that's wrong. For num in, and now I want to add numbers to the list, right? And to do that, I'm going to stop saying right. And to do that, I'm going to go for another built-in function in Python called range, not ranger, range. Range is built in to Python, and it allows me to create a range of numbers. So in the argument section, I have to argument what the range is going to be. Now I can do a starting range. If I do 1 to 10, I have my starting range, which is 1, and my end range, which is 10. Or I can just add one number. If I add just one number, it becomes the end range, and range will start at the beginning of numbers, which, you know. So I add the colon, and now num is whatever range gives it. And it starts at 0, and it goes to 1. It goes right. If you are using Python 2 for some reason, you want to do this and use xrange. Range in Python 2, there was an issue with it, so they had to fix it, and they did it by adding a new type of range called xrange. So range will spit out numbers in a sequence. So essentially, when I do this range 10, I'm essentially just doing this. I'm just getting a list of 1 to 9, or at least that's how it used to be. But in essence, this is what we're doing. So if I print these numbers out as before, now I'm going to get both printouts. So let's remove this printout, and I get that 0, 1, 2, 3. So range begins at 0, iterates from 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 9. Let us add that to our new list. So we go new list dot append number, and now we wait for the for loop to finish, and we print new list, and it's that simple. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how we quickly make a list. That's even easier than me standing there typing 1, 2, 3, right? God, I said it again. And it becomes very, very simple. Now, there's a difference though. There's a 0 here. We don't want no zeros. Let's eliminate the 0. So now I'm going to make an if number does not equal 0. This is one operator that I forgot to mention. It is the opposite of equal equal. The opposite of equal if number is equal to 0, if number is not equal to 0. So similarly, up here we did a while not. Now we're doing a not equal, which are very similar functions. So if the number is 0, if the number is not 0, if the number is 0, do not proceed. In every other situation, proceed. So if number does not equal 0, as long as the number does not equal 0, do this. If it equals 0, do nothing. So now if we do this, bang, we have omitted the 0 that range gives us. Now we could have just ranged from 1, but this is a more fun way of doing it, and I needed to teach you the not equal operator. So now our lists are exactly identical, which is what we wanted. Cool. So you notice that this is being looped inside the scope of the for loop, and now we're inside the scope of the if, which is also being looped, but only the times that number does not equal 0. I'm sure you get it. And that's loops. Very, very simple. Now we're going to take a look at an interface, and we're going to put some of this stuff into real practice.